sister has passed. Mm-hmm. You're learning about ETs, and what happened that actually sort of progressed you to where it wasn't just your father having experiences, but you started to have them?
Okay. Wow. Well, I started to learn about the ETs. I'm actually really still upset with my father because he left the church, and I was still kind of Christian at that time, right? Trying to hold on to this, and so I kept going to different churches, and I felt really annoyed because I couldn't find one where I fit in, and so I decided to explore different religions, and I went to those churches. Still didn't quite fit in, or something felt off, and I couldn't put my finger on it. So then I went into mysticism, because this seemed to be along the lines of what my dad was talking about and what it seemed these beings were trying to relate to me. But still that didn't quite feel right, and I didn't quite fit in. And I knew that one day I would be explaining this to people. So I decided to even explore atheism. Again, same thing, still didn't quite fit in. But I couldn't deny any of them either, because they all seemed to be pieces of myself. So what I did was I started to embrace all of them. And I realized that I'm not just one, and to pigeonhole myself into one is a great disservice.
Okay.
So these new insights started coming through. This is really where I started to see the world very differently, and everyday little things started to become really big. For example, one time I came home and I was very upset about this reoccurring problem. Like, why does this keep happening to me? And it's funny, I don't even know what it is to this day, so it's really big, right? But it popped into my head, Boggle. Go get the game Boggle. I'm like, huh? Boggle? What the heck does that have to do with anything? That's kind of a weird random tangent. But I went and got it, and then I got, shake it up, find some words. And I found like 10. And I'm like, all right, well, that's done. I don't really understand the point of this. And when I put it down, I got up and I turned around and I saw the board from another angle. And I saw all these other words I didn't see before. And I'm like, wait a second. And I walked around and I saw, more from the other angle, more from the other angle. Till I found, I think, 55. And then it said, okay, well, now you know why this problem keeps reoccurring. You're only looking at it from one perspective, one angle. I was like, oh my goodness, wow. And where did this come from? And then it just popped into my head. Allow us to introduce ourselves. We are your guides. And every time I tried to ask them who exactly they were, I got a different answer. And so I thought at one point they were playing with me. But in a sense, they didn't want to be locked into labels. In the beginning, we introduced myself as a crystal child. There's indigo, light worker, starseed, and also just Jessica. Uh-huh. Right? So they're all labels. When it comes down to it, they're all pieces of ourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, in school, I was always told that I was stupid, and I believed it.
Well, when you say you were told you were stupid, who told you that?
My teachers. Because I was put in the special classes. I'm a slow learner. And the students, and because I was very dyslexic and I learned very differently, and I didn't see things the way they did, and also I didn't have an interest too. It's just so boring. This is not going to stimulate the soul. It starves that part of us.
Okay, but to get back to your story, you're in a position where you're starting to hear from your guides. You've heard stories from your father. Mm-hmm. So at what point were you actually sort of convinced that possibly what he was seeing was real, and those personages started to be appearing for you or become real for you?
They never quite appeared to me in the way my dad did. But it just started like what I was sharing with in school about being told I was stupid. It stayed like that until, that was my paradigm. That's what everybody saw me as, until one day it dawned on me that, someone's opinion of me doesn't have to be my reality. And when that happened, everything shifted. Nobody saw me as stupid anymore, but it doesn't mean I still don't have that part. These are all facets of what makes us human, so I couldn't really judge anybody anymore because I saw myself in each one of them, no matter what they did. And what really took it to the next level actually was, this is very, very hard to share, but it's very important to share. Even though I was starting to become open to it, I was still very upset with my dad, because what I wanted more than anything was just a normal dad, and to be a father and not to be lost to this world, even though it was exciting. You're still a child and you need that kind of support. So I might get a bit emotional about saying this.
That's okay.
On Christmas Day, the whole family was around, and I just felt so hurt and upset by my dad that I told him, "I hate you, why don't you just die already?" And he did.
Okay.
And
when you say he did, can you be a little more specific as to what happened?
A week later, he had a brain hemorrhage, and he went in for brain surgery, and he didn't recover.
Okay. So how did you sort of view that experience?
Well, I knew about how our thoughts create reality before What the Bleep came out. This information was being given to me by my dad's beings as I sat, and listened to what they were saying. That I knew that there's a huge responsibility to what we're putting out and how powerful it is, that in a sense it is magic. Mm-hmm. So when I said that, I was so racked with guilt. I'm so mad at myself and so upset with these beings who are working with me. I felt that they chose the wrong person to do this mission, because I demonstrated myself as unworthy, that you get told that this is the power that you have. Your thoughts create, your reality. Pay attention to them. And then you go and do something like that in a so seeming unconscious measure.
Okay, but did you also allow for the freedom of the other person, their sort of as a sovereign entity? In other words, that person being your father having a choice on whether to die or not?
I didn't see that until later on. See, what happened was I didn't want anything to do with the beings after that. Just because I felt so hurt by what I did, that unworthy, like I said. But they still wouldn't leave me alone, and they said, "You don't understand. You're only seeing it from one perspective, and you're feeling very hard on yourself, and it's not necessary. You don't understand on the soul level what's occurring. Even though you told him out of anger what you told him, on the soul level, you said, 'It's okay, Dad. You can go now. Mm-hmm. We'll be fine.' And that I had a contract with him that I would help him go when the time came. And that he did want to leave, but he didn't want to go unless he knew that we would be okay. And I did just that."
Okay. So you were able to kind of forgive yourself and allow for that occurrence to happen and to have been part of your reality, in other words.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And what about the rest of your family? How did they view his passing at that point?
Devastated my mother. My mother still hasn't recovered from it. My oldest brother just distanced himself away from the family, because he witnessed that. I don't know if he even forgives me to this day of what I said to Dad, because he can't understand or see it the way I do now. My other brother, he was upset with Dad too, so he actually talked about just not being happy with Mom being with Dad, and Steve was too young to really know what was going on. Okay.
So your father passed on, and you were having some interactions with various beings and getting information.
Yeah.
But what happened after that? Did it increase? Did you?
Oh yes, it just kept increasing nonstop. I just had to keep. I felt very, very guided suddenly after my dad passed away, that he planted a whole bunch of seeds within me, and I needed to take care of all these seeds now. I need to make sure they had light and water and.
Were you sharing your experiences with your family, or was this just private?